Coromandel, and something is happening, and it is the Laura Shepherd Show. It's so exciting on the other side of the world. Hello, Gulfport. Hello, Virginia. Hello, United States. Hello, any aliens watching from outer space. We don't know the government. Anybody else that is watching, we are welcoming you. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to bring, we have lovely guests today. We're going to have Brooke is going to show up and play some music. Kate James is here, and Deborah Hide-bayne. And we are going to start with Kate James, and she is going to join me on the stage. Come on up here, Kate. Yay! Oh, yay, Kate. Thank you for taking time out of your Sunday to join me.
Thanks for inviting me along.
Yes.
It's lovely to be here.
Well, now, Kate, you volunteer for many organizations.
I do.
You do. Now, why do you think that is?
It's a good question. I like to think I'm doing my part to help our community and to improve our environment, which is a beautiful part of the world. And it's something I enjoy doing as well. It's a good social connection and volunteer groups, because everyone's in it for similar reasons usually.
Yeah. And today we're here to talk about one of those groups, which is the Plastic Free Coromandel.
Yes.
Okay, now how did you get involved with Plastic Free Coromandel?
It's quite a cute little story. I was reading our local little magazine that comes out once a month, and I just saw this little line at the bottom of one of the pages, and it said, would anybody be interested in joining a group to help reduce plastic waste in Coromandel? And it had a phone number, and it had an email. And I emailed and I thought about it really carefully for ages, and I put all my credentials, and I thought, am I going to be allowed to join the group? Like, how serious is this? This is awesome. And I got hold of the woman who placed the ad, and she set up a meeting at her house, just with everyone that had responded to her call for help. And so we just formed this random group of women and sat around and talking about what we could do in Coromandel.
And how many people showed up at that very first meeting?
I think it was about eight or nine.
And out of those 8 or 9, how many people decided it was something they wanted to do?
Everyone did. We got a really strong core group actually, and we just inspired each other. We all went around and just said what our interests were and what we thought we could help with or what we thought we could do. We started to make up some sort of guidelines around what we could schedule to happen in town, and just play to our strengths. So we had in the first place a teacher who wanted to help kids do workshops, and we had myself who's a marine scientist, and I wanted to help reduce plastic waste into the ocean, and just all these different areas of expertise that we put together.
So you're an actual marine scientist?
Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful? It's and what does one have to do to become a marine scientist? All right, kids out there, if you want to become a marine scientist,
you have to do a lot of study at university, basically.
Okay.
I did my science degree, and then I did my PhD in marine science. So I can call myself a marine scientist.
Marine scientist. Okay, so now I'm picturing a bunch of women sitting around a table. Drinking wine. Eating crackers. Plastic-free crackers. And originally you were trying to just ban plastic bags, is that correct?
Yeah,
reduce
that's right. We sort of had this discussion about what was a low-hanging fruit, and how Judy put it, and we thought that would be an easy one to steer people away from, because there's an easy alternative, a reusable bag, that's it. Just take your own bag to the shops. It's that easy. And so that's where we started. We sort of worked our way through that until plastic bags were actually banned.
They were banned in the whole country, so you guys were ahead of your time.
Yeah, we modelled ourselves on a group in Raglan who were way ahead of their time, and they had plastic bag-free Raglan, so we could kind of follow up and talk to them and see how they had gone about it in Raglan, and then we tried to put that into place in Coromandel.
And what kind of resistance did you get from people?
People mainly had big issues around how they're going to line their rubbish bin. They don't have a free plastic bag. And number 2, that we still get hassled about is how am I going to pick up my dog's poo
How am I
without
gonna
a plastic bag.
Yeah, because you can't leave your poo on. So how am I gonna? Not having a dog, but if I was to have a dog, how would I pick up that poo?
Well, you have to improvise, and you'd have to just use a little scoop, or you can get little cardboard ones that just have a little closer at the top, and you know.
So there actually is
There
a
are
cardboard
alternatives.
product meant for picking up dog poo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who knew?
You know, solution for everything.
Okay, so this now. How many years ago did you all get this group together, Plastic Free Coromandel?
Maybe 3 or 4 years ago now, maybe 3 years. I think.
And out of the 8 or 9 people who started, how many people are still involved?
We've still got 4, maybe 5 really key core people.
Yeah.
And then the others kind of drop in and out, you know, depending
Right.
how busy. And we've got new people that have come on board, and we've just got a mix.
Yeah.
Who's available, because it's all volunteering. So it's like not everyone is at every meeting, not everyone is interested in every kind of project that we decide to take on board. So we have sort of assigned ourselves tasks that we're happy to do. And we bring in extra people if we need extra help, and just work it like that.
And what sort of okay, other than encouraging people with the plastic bags, what other, now you've branched off, so what other like things has somebody shown an interest in?
Well, our big one that we're trying to tackle this year is takeaway coffee cups, actually.
The takeaway coffee cup.
Yeah, it's just about reminding people all the time to have their own water bottle and not to buy a plastic bottle of water if they don't have to, and take their own reusable cup if they want to get a coffee, so they don't end up with a throwaway cup.
Yeah.
Just these little changes that people can make with it.
And what about people who have this idea somehow that the plastic bottle of water is somehow better for you than the tap water?
Not in Coromandel.
Not in Coromandel. And we're thinking, think global, act local.
Yeah. And there is always another way. You know, you can filter your water from the tap if you really don't like the taste of it and things like that. If you have trouble with chlorine, you know, you can just put a jug of water in the fridge until it sort of dissipates and you have nice water to drink.
Okay, and after 2 or 3 years of working, do you feel like the message is easier to get out? Like at the beginning, people are like, what? Plastic free? Well, you know, don't even, but now it's a national thing. You can't, you know, so do you believe that the general public is more on board with less plastic?
Yeah, definitely. I think the awareness, I mean, not just through our group.
Well, yes,
the awareness overall has just skyrocketed in the last few years about plastic waste and plastic pollution and how much trouble it's causing our environment and our planet. And it's just, the message is, I mean, the algorithms in Facebook tell me that it's everywhere. I know that just my Facebook, but it really is quite pervasive now. And it's just people are getting little reminders all the time, you know, when they go to the cafe and you can buy a reusable cup, or you can choose different options and just have all these little reminders every time, every day. It's just people are getting there.
Yeah, Gulfport, Florida, we did the plastic straw ban.
Yeah.
You know, like and so now you can buy a little metal straw with a cleaner.
Yeah, I have some of those.
You have some?
Yeah. For my son, I have one that has a little silicone end on it, so it's soft. So you don't have to worry about his teeth on the stainless steel.
Okay, and so what are some of your hopes for the future?
Get rid of plastic cups. Get rid of the takeaway coffee cups.
Get rid of the takeaway
plastic line cups. Everyone's quite on board with making a shift to compostable cups. But we don't have the infrastructure here in Coromandel to dispose of the compostable cups, because you need a commercial compostable.
I know that is a bit of a people out there. You know, it is a compostable cup, but you have to have a pretty heavy duty what do you have to bring it up to temperature? Is that?
That's right. First of all, you have to collect them separately from all the other waste so that they can be composted, and you have to have the right facilities to compost them.
Yeah.
So it's just a bit of greenwashing there when you have a little eco symbol on the cup, but it's still going to landfill. It's still just a single-use item that is essentially just throw it.
Right, because if I go to the coffee shop and I get my compostable cup, and drink my coffee and throw it in the trash can, my cup has not.
And then going to compost. And
Yeah, come on, it's going to compost in the bag. Come on, tell me.
That would be good. But.
No. Okay, so we can bring our own cups. And we can have paper dog poo keeper uppers.
Yeah, you have your little canine companion causing bother. Yeah.
Well, and it's true that, we still have one single-use plastic bags, and that's what I use because I don't make much garbage, so I don't need a great big garbage bag. I have this little, so I'll just have to make less garbage than if they ban bags where I'm from.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I say to people. I say, well, just reduce your waste overall, and here's your problem gone. But you don't need a bin liner if you're composting, because all your sort of mucky food waste and things is going into your compost.
Right.
And then you've just got some maybe bits and pieces of
plastic,
most likely, that you need to put in your bin, but you don't need a bin liner.
You don't need a bin liner because we can put all our trash in a bread bag. Because I've been doing some clay while I'm up here, and I get halfway done and I need to wrap it in plastic to keep it from drying. And I used to use the 4-square bags, and all of a sudden I looked around and I'm like, oh my God, there's no 4-square bags. What am I going to do? And it turns out bread bags work. We haven't gotten rid of bread bags yet, but.
That's right, I have a lump of clay at home in a bread bag as well. As it happens, keeps it nice and soft.
Lump of Coromandel clay in a bread bag.
Yeah.
All right, can you tell me something else about working with okay, so a bunch of ladies that you all didn't know each other.
That's right, we're just totally random
women.
People. Yeah.
And are these people you probably wouldn't have been friends with otherwise? Or?
Yeah, I think I could safely say I wouldn't probably have encountered them in other kind of social situation. Because it was just that common interest that led us to hang out.
And then now, are you guys friends?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Let me ask you in front of the whole world. Are you friends?
Except for... No.
Yeah, so isn't that wonderful how you can meet a random group of people that all have an idea to make the world a better place, and then all of a sudden you get to be friends?
Yeah, it's a really lovely social connection that and we bounce ideas off each other, and we all just have our strengths that we can add to the group.
Well, absolutely. Now, do you have any recommendations for people out there that want to make a change?
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said just try and make less waste. Just think about what you're actually bringing into your home in the first place, and if you need to bring that in, or if you can think of another way where you're not going to bring rubbish essentially into your home, and think about where you're buying things and if you need to buy them, and how much money you could save if you don't buy new things all the time that you possibly don't need and that end up in landfill, and just kind of making that shift towards maybe, this is what they say, the first step, like reducing your waste, is like looking at what's in your bin and being,
no, we cannot look in the trash. No, I will not look at trash.
What do I need all these packets of chips? Can I make my own chips or something? It's so personal what people buy and what people need to buy and use, and they might just be able to make a little change if they notice that
something is piling up.
Yeah, something's piling up. They've got their burners filled with takeaway coffee cups. You get a discount in a lot of places if you take your reusable cup.
Really? Oh. Yeah. Well, that sounds like a good deal. Yeah. And so there you go. So it's clear that people can make a difference.
Oh, absolutely.
Are you hopeful?
Absolutely. I am very hopeful. Yes. I truly believe that everyone can make it.
Oh. And are there any local events coming up that you have on the tip of your mind for plastic-free Coromandel?
Not at the present time, actually. We have scheduled a meeting for our first meeting of the year, plan what we're going to do, and then we'll lay it all out there, and we'll see what we can do. Are you still looking for some volunteers? Yeah, always. Especially when we try and reduce waste at big events, like the Seafood Festival that's coming up. We need to call on other people to help us to set things up and make those things work.
Yeah, because I've been to festivals where they're doing composting and stuff, and they have people standing by each trash can
Yeah.
going, what are you doing with that? Put this
Yeah.
in this bin and that
Yeah.
bin. And
Bin monitors. They're
oh,
very important.
GMs, we call them.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
It's confusing. It's a complicated thing if people aren't used to
Right.
recycling or separating their rubbish. It's confronting
Yeah.
when you've got, what are all these different bins for? And
Yeah.
you might need a little help in your BN.
All right, well, thank you. Kate, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and coming to talk to me. I feel really blessed that you would do that. Plastic Free Coromandel Town, Facebook. If you want to get involved, you can.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kate.
That'd be awesome.
Appreciate your
Yay.
time. Yay! Yay! All right, Brooke, do you have your instrument ready? This thing is a little clicky. Oh, yes, okay, so we have our friend Brooke. Brooke,
Hello.
join us.
Hello.
So great.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming. You're well known all over town as being a singer-songwriter, wonderful, nice person. I've heard so many nice things about you, and we've sort of seen each other from a distance. We were both at a flower show,
We were.
volunteering our time,
We were.
and you were on the inside, I was on the outside,
We were.
and we didn't get to chat,
No.
but here we are. So what? Do you want to just sing a song?
Sure thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get up, and you're
Okay.
gonna sing a song.
Okay, sure
Okay,
thing.
you do that.
Okay. Well, I had two in mind. Do you think I'll have time for two?
Yes.
Okay, that'll
Start
help
with one,
me
and then
choose.
we'll get you back up for a second one.
Okay. Well. Alright, well I'll do a little introduction about this song. I'm quite proud of it because I wrote it a very long time ago, about 10 years ago now, when I was still at high school. And I had lots of big feelings, and somehow I managed to express them in the song, and it helped me understand and things. So even if the lyrics don't make literal sense, the poeticness of them did a lot for me at the time. So I enjoy playing it for that reason. True to my past self, even though I feel like I've evolved, it's nice to revisit. So it goes like this. It's called Solitude. And I'll pick this pick, I think. I came out here to find some peace of mind. 'Cause where I've been, it's forbidden. I came out here to search for something more. A part of me that's long been hidden. Am I the only one who wants to know? Can I be lonely without being alone? Is there a place I can't be found? How far must I walk till I'm alone? And even then, when will I feel it? How long till this feeling's gone? I could scream and nobody would hear. But even then the trees listen and the stars they stare shamelessly down. I came to wonder, if not here, where can I not be found? Am I the only one who wants to know? Can I be lonely without being alone? Is there a place I can't be found? How far must I walk till I'm alone? And even then, when will I feel it? How long till this feeling's gone? How long till this feeling's gone? I came out here to find some peace of mind. 'Cause where I've been, it's forbidden.
Lovely. Have you found some peace of mind?
I have. I know. Isn't it wonderful? I need to write another song.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you start playing music?
Oh, well, I grew up in a very musical household. Yeah, when I was about 2 or 3, my mum studied to be an opera singer. So I had this interesting kind of early experiences.
Yeah.
But it was when I was 8 years old and I joined a choir that it just hit home for me. And pretty much on a weekly basis since 8 years old, the few gaps now I'm a bit older, but really for a long 10 years at least, even 14 years, weekly basis singing in groups with people, and that has just brought so much joy into my life, and been so many of my highlight experiences of being with people have been in those kind of spaces of singing together.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Some people sit around the kitchen table and plan to ban plastic bags and have a great time, and other people sit around in groups and sing.
Yeah.
I unfortunately have never sung in a chorus, and a friend of mine
Oh my
called me from
goodness.
Switzerland or Germany. I'm not even sure where he said, "Gloria, you need to join the chorus and do some good." And I'm like,
I'm gonna make one, I think. Yeah, I gotta get some. We gotta see if there's some local singing groups going on.
well,
Oh, it's so
okay.
much fun.
I've just learned this from Kate. What you do is you put a little advert
Okay.
in the newspaper saying singing group.
Yeah. Oh well, I've tried. I've rallied some. I've had some locally in Coromandel over the last 2 years. I've pulled off a few of group singing events. We had a wonderful one in the Pyramid. You know.
I know.
Oh my goodness! And we ended up having. I made it a family event, and we had parents and their children and grandparents come, and we filled up the room, and we did sort of spiritual gospel songs. I printed out all the words, and we all sat in a circle and we sung. And it was just so moving and brought everyone together, and all the barriers fall away, and it was such a positive
And did you have
experience.
instruments too, or just vocal, or just a few instruments, I guess?
I think actually I might have had my guitar for support, but I think I really liked the idea of it being vocal focused, and I think that was a big part of why I wanted to do it, was just have a space for voices, because often instruments really take up a lot of the sound space. I find that particularly with the younger children I do, when they have bells or shakers, you can't really hear much else. All around and everywhere sounds like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I tried to make it, I think, an instrument minimal space that time. Yeah.
And like you say, there is something like when when something is resonating in your body. Have you ever done that thing where you get up in somebody's face and you put your face against their face and you both start humming right next to each other? It's a little cray-cray.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so powerful, just your human voice.
Totally. And apparently when we sing together, our heartbeats slow and start beating together and things like that after singing together for a minute or so, a group of people. So there's definitely some kind of energy, spiritual dimension to it that people are really starting to recognise as being a positive health benefactor and making life more joyous and all that.
Yeah. And different. I've read a book where it just talks about toning, and so you might make do that for a little while and go down that line. And it said that if you do that, certain notes will really appeal to you, and that's the vibration that your body is looking for. And so you can do it in a very organized manner. Start it, go down. And they say you sing until you feel feel
relaxed, or
something. You
hold the note until
something you'll sigh, or you'll something like
that.
Right. And
fantastic!
And
I think I've had that book too. Tone. It was just called Tone.
Yeah.
It was really powerful read. I remember being quite blown away by the concepts like that.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Now, so do you call yourself a musician?
Yes, I would, just because not enough people do. And I feel like if I don't, then no one can, and that's just sad. Because I do play music and I do sing, and I do put myself out there musically, so if I didn't, it would be.
Yeah, so you are a musician.
Yes.
I think you're a musician.
Oh, good.
There you go.
There's one.
But it is two of us.
That's good.
And when two or more gather for you, the cameraman agrees, and the audience all agrees that you are a musician.
Good one.
Okay, so I am going to get you to come back up at the end of the show and talk a little more and sing a song. Okay, good. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Now I'm going to get out my mandolin, and this is Coromandel, which is in New Zealand, and it's a magical, magical place. And when I first came here, it was due to a strange series of coincidences, and I ended up at a place called the Driving Creek Cafe. And a driving creek has nothing to do with cars. It was where they drove the logs down the mountain, basically, in a creek, which ruined the creek. We will talk about that. But anyways, that's why we call it the Driving Creek. There was a cafe, and just a little bit above the cafe, there's a place called the Driving Creek Railway, which you can go to, and it still exists to the day. And sometimes it's called the DC Railway for Driving Creek. And when I first came to Coromandel, I really felt like this place was, I don't know, it was just magic for me. About 3 weeks woofing, and woofing stands for Willing Workers on Organic Farms, but now it is sort of spread where you go somewhere and you volunteer, or you don't volunteer, you work for 4 hours, and in exchange for that you get room and board. And so I was a woofer at the Driving Creek Cafe, and I just love this town. But I had made an agreement to go down to Wellington and speak about Downtown Greens, which is a organic public green space in Virginia that I was part of at the time. So I had to leave the Coromandel. And the night before I left, we all went to Golden Bay, Bear Bum Beach, and this song was written. And so it's a song, it talks about Golden Bay, and it talks about my leaving. And when I went down to Wellington, I went with some friends to speak at a Maori marae on the subject of community gardens. And the two girls I was with, they said, Laura, when you get, the Maori are going to sing a waihata, which is a sort of a greeting, that they sing their greeting. And so my two friends, Joe and Linda, said, we're going to have to sing a waihata back. And I said, we are? What's that? And they said, oh yeah, the Coromandel song, that'll work. And I said, are you sure? Because I don't know about this standing up and singing in front of people that I'm supposed to be giving a talk on organic gardening. They said, no, you'll see. And sure enough, we trundled on down there to, I guess I was riding with Joe. And they came with me to the talk I gave. And we sat around at this big room. And sure enough, people stood and sang a song in Maori to us. And I was, And so then at the end of that, I'm kind of looking down, and Linda pokes me, and Joe pokes me from the other side. She said, stand up, and off we started singing. And so that's what happened. So I'm going to ask Debs to join me on the stage to help us sing this song. So in this song, you'll hear about the DC Railway, the Driving Creek Cafe, and woofing. And the chorus, we didn't sing the whole song. We just sang the chorus and then sat back down. So if, Debs, will you sing the chorus with me?
I'll sing the chorus.
Okay. We'll start with chorus. Okay. So Kiwi breeze blowing on Golden Bay, and the Putakawa begins to sway. The sun sets where I'm feeling fine, by the firelight on Coromandel's night, by the firelight on Coromandel's night. There's a woofing girl at the Driving Creek Cafe. Her name is Laura. Tomorrow she's going away. She's headed south to windy Wellington way. But we all know she'll be back one day. Highly prophetic song. The Kiwi breeze blowing on Golden Bay, and the Putakawa begins to sway. The sun sets when I'm feeling fine, on the firelight of Coromandel's night, by the firelight of Coromandel's night. And up the hill at the DC Railway, the pottery boys are playing with their clay. Tim's in the shed smoking ganja, IRA. In the Garden of Eden, and we're picking plums all day. The Kiwi breeze blowing on Golden Bay, and the Putakawa begins to sway. The sun sets when I'm feeling fine, by the firelight of Coromandel's night, by the firelight of Coromandel's night. At Coromandel time is when you get there, right?
It is.
It's like
yeah.
kind of like island time.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's a real thing where if you tell someone you're going to meet them at 2 o'clock, they turn up at like 2:20. So if you actually want them to turn up, you have to say, this is not Coromandel time.
Real time. Yeah. This show goes on from 4 to start at 4:30. Okay, Debs, thank you for having us in your home.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
I've had the pleasure of being your house guest, and I thank you. And this is a beautiful home that you and your husband and an architect built.
That's right.
And it is an award winner!
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let's see. What sort of award have we won? Woohoo! Thank you, Jack. Okay, the New Zealand Architecture Award.
Yeah.
Let me see, because I'm going to hold this up close,
Okay.
just for you people. There it is, the New Zealand Architectural Awards.
So what it was, and that's our page. We have our own page. with
Get
the
your own
description of
page.
the house.
Yay!
And what it was the architect just decided to put us in for an award, and he didn't even tell us that he was doing it, because he said, well, generally, you don't get even nominated, so there's no point even mentioning to you. So he waited till we had been nominated, and then he phoned us to tell us that the judges were coming in 1 week to look at the house. And at this point, there was no garden, it was just piles of dirt around the house, and obviously you can imagine we started freaking out and wanting everything to be perfect. And so we just rushed around like maniacs trying to tidy everything. And then he said, oh, the photographer's going to come. Professional photographer's going to come and shoot the house. And then 5 days later, the judges are coming.
The judges!
So then it was like, so what happens in between? And he's like, well, you just keep it immaculately tidy for those 5 days, and then it will be fine. And you can imagine with a family and real life, that was quite tricky.
Yeah.
But we got to go to the awards ceremony, which was down in Tauranga, and they just said, we're going to announce the awards. So it wasn't like gold, silver, bronze. It was just like, we're going to mention a whole load of people, and you're all winners. And so we got to the very last category, which was our category, and the very last name they called, and that was us.
Yay!
So it was amazing. It was an amazing feeling, because we really had no expectations that we were going to win at all. So it was wonderful.
Yeah, and so so you built this beautiful house with the help of an architect and won an award for it. So that's fabulous.
Yeah. So his name is Ken Crossan, and we found him. It's quite funny. We found him on Pinterest. Because we were looking on Pinterest, you set up a board called Dream House, and then you start looking at stuff, and it was all stuff in America, or in Canada, Vancouver, West Coast stuff, and then one day we saw this one image we liked, and it said Whamapua, which your listeners won't realise, but this is just 20 minutes away from where we are now.
And if you live in Coromandel, that's unusual that something is 20 minutes away.
Yeah. So we just thought, we'll just get in touch with him and we'll see how it goes. And he was interested, and one thing led to another, So I decided to document the whole process.
Yes.
And I'm also an artist, a trained printmaker, and I'm a really keen cook. So
Yes.
And I kind of was having a bit of a midlife crisis at the time when I thought, I'm not doing the things I'm really passionate about. I'm doing other things, and how can I do the things that really mean something to me? So I made this big list of photography, cooking, writing, painting, and then I came up with this idea I could do a book.
They're all in your
Yeah,
book. Photography, writing, cooking, and painting. They're all in your book.
Yeah. So this is book number 2 now.
That book number 2.
Which is pretty crazy. And so it's called Coastal, Living the Coastal Life, Cooking for the Coastal Table.
There it is. Book number 2.
Yeah.
So what is the gist of our book here?
So it's a kind of lifestyle book.
A lifestyle book. What does that mean? A lifestyle.
Right. So what it means is there's lots of people in the world living lives and thinking like me, I wish I could be doing things a different way, or I'd like to be a bit more sustainable. I'd like to live in the country. I'd like to do, the things I do for hobbies, I'd like to do more of in my real life. And so I tried to put all that together in one book. So it's got lifestyle projects, sustainability projects. It's also got cooking projects. It's got indoor projects, outdoor projects, and it's got this whole kind of story flowing through it of building this house and starting from scratch on a piece of land and trying to make that all work.
Right. So in the book we have there's the pictures of just drawing.
Yeah, and so also I did some printmaking because I am a trained printmaker, so I just couldn't resist. So I did some printmaking based on, fruits and vegetables, and, got a big vegetable garden here, and, at the moment, as you well know, we are right in the middle of peach season.
It's dreadful, you all. Every time I go outside, I have to pick up more peaches.
And we have been canning peaches, and we have been drying peaches, and we have been oven baking peaches.
And pickling peaches?
And
I haven't
pickling
tried the
peaches.
pickled peaches yet, but all the rest I'm, all for. Raw
Yeah,
peaches.
yeah.
Oh, there's one. Yeah. Let's see one of these fabulous peaches. See? This is
So
it.
these are our peaches, literally just from the tree outside the window here. So these are Golden Queens, which is a really nice preserving peach. And so, we're just making the most of all the amazing produce we have here in the Coromandel.
Well, I know. In your book, some of the projects that you have are what, a boot rack?
Yeah.
And this is one of my funny stories about New Zealand, because I come here, and it's my winter in Florida, but it's the summertime here. And all the lovely people I stay with, they have these gumboots laying around. But I never see anybody wearing gumboots. And I'm like, what up with all these people and their gumboots? And finally I said something to someone, and they looked at me like I wasn't as bright as I think I am. And they're like, Laura, it rains all winter. And I'm like, oh, that's what the gumboots are for. They're for the winter when I'm never here.
And so, so some people, they're lucky enough to have a boot room where they keep all their raincoats and their gumboots and everything like that. But for most of us, we don't have that much space. So we just, came up, I came up with this idea that there must be a better way of storing gumboots. So I came up with this plan for this little, it's a piece of wood that I was able to decorate, and
We could go get the actual rack,
Yeah,
but
we
they
could
might
get-
drop on the way in. But there we go.
And so you can hang your gumboots up, and so not only is it beautiful, but it's also intensely practical because the mud dries on the top of your boots because they're upside down, and B, you can't get any nasty kind of spiders or anything crawling into your boots because they are upside down.
Yeah.
And it actually takes up a tiny amount of room in your house.
Yeah.
So that's one project, but there's also things like making your own skincare projects, or canning peaches, or making things. And really, one of the things I really wanted to encourage people with is the idea that you can do this, whatever it is, you can do it. You may not get it right first time. You might get it horribly wrong, but I promise you're going to have a lot of fun in the process. And we all learn from our mistakes, and you will know we have the evidence of all the projects that I'm constantly doing just all around us in the house.
Yeah. And what made you think you could write a couple of books, Missy? Hello. What made you think you could write a couple of books? Who are you to be writing books?
I don't know. No, I don't know who I am to be writing books. But I tell you what, I started because starting is kind of the easy bit in a way. You get all enthusiastic one day and you just go, right, I'm going to write a book, and you start. And then the more that you do, the more invested you have in the project, And I set myself, I'm a mother, so I was like, okay, during school hours, I'm going to cook and photograph one recipe. And I'll try and do, say, 3 a week, and that was my goal.
Because the first book was just a cookbook.
Yeah,
called
much more. It's called Coromandel Flavor. And so I just set myself these little tasks. And obviously, as I was taking the photos, I got better at taking the photos. And I looked around, and there are lots of really inspiring cooks out there in the world. So I just kept going. And eventually, I had done so much that it would have been ridiculous to stop, and I just had to keep going until it was done.
Yeah. And when you were doing that, were there people telling you couldn't, or you just quietly went? Or did you tell everybody you were going to do this, or did you just? Your family knew. I remember knowing.
With the first book, I told everybody, and people were really kind. People would stop in the street with, they'd go, "Oh, my granny had this amazing recipe for this, and you should have it in your book." And so that was really nice because it felt like a kind of community project.
Yeah.
And over here we have, these little holiday homes called batches. And so I really love the little old batch and the idea that you might not have, thousands of products in your cupboard. You might just have some real basics, but you can still make really delicious food. And so I started collecting recipes from people, and I actually scanned the notes, that Granny had written about the recipe, and put all that in the book as well. So it became a kind of art project as well, of building up all these beautiful collages, and that's led through into this book as well.
I think, I find that the style of this book is similar to the other one, with pictures and more than just text and photographs. There's all sorts of drawings and plans and pictures. And
I like the idea that you can kind of dip into it and read a little bit, and then, and it's organised seasonally, so you can sort of dip in a bit and then come back and see another project later on, and just dip your toe in the water of one or two things that maybe you haven't tried before.
Wow, it's so empowering, because you can join a group and clean up the oceans. You can sit around in your own house and make a book that helps, because I feel like that this book, the person who buys this book then is blessed with the information in it.
Yeah, and like, for example, one of the projects is sew your own bag, and so I use that bag as my peg bag, to peg out the laundry. Yeah. But it's a really great bag to take to the supermarket as well. So I feel like there's kind of overlap between what we're all doing here.
And it's interesting, because I don't know. I feel like the world is just full of fabulous people. How about that? Is that true? All those in favor? Yay! The world is full of fabulous people. I tease Debs because she uses recipes. And I have never used a recipe in my entire life. And I'm like, you wrote the book. Yeah, what do you need a recipe for?
Well, sometimes it's great. I don't have to hold all that in my head anymore. It's out there in a book. So I often use my own recipe book, and it's great because I can go, oh, what did I cook it in? And I can look at the picture, and I'm like, oh, I cooked it in the blue dish. So I can get the blue dish out.
I know.
And actually, it's got photos of my family in it as well. And so it acts as a kind of receptacle for all those memories as well.
And you are starting a new chapter in your life. I'm telling everybody you're writing a novel.
Yes, I have started one. I don't know if it will turn into a book. I don't know, somehow I feel a bit more about it because it's all just words. But
you can illustrate it.
Yeah, no, you're right, I could. I've started writing a novel, so we'll see how that goes. But at the moment, I'm still wanting to celebrate the achievement actually of finishing this one and getting it out there into the world, and getting people to try the projects and the recipes.
And so, if people want this book, they can go to coromandelflavor.com. Now,
it's .co.nz.
Oh, okay. Say that again.
Coromandelflavor.co.nz.
Now, do we have to talk about spelling here?
Yeah, we do.
Spelling.
Flavour in New Zealand has a U in it.
Oh.
As well as an. So
dear.
O-U-R.
Yes. So, in fact, she can spell. Yeah. And a batch is not a beach.
No.
Yeah.
And I think there are lots of recipes in the book that would appeal to people in New Zealand and also other places as well.
Okay. I want to thank you again. Is there anything else you want to share with us? Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Duncan. Thank you, Jack, for having.
I think just that I have got to know you over about 15 years, and actually, there's a really funny story. Can I just share this story?
Okay.
Laura was telling me one day about this amazing wedding she'd been to when she came to New Zealand. She, as a woofer, she came to Coromandel, and as a woofer, she got taken to this wedding, and she was telling me about this wedding, and it gradually dawned on me that the wedding she was talking about was my own wedding. And we didn't know each other at that point.
No,
but Laura came to my wedding. And so the amazing thing is that we are dear friends now, and that she's in my wedding photos because she was there. And so,
fun. We've decided we're sisters.
Yeah, and so somehow Coromandel, you know, it has these wonderful interweavings.
Weird magic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I feel, you know, I'm from London originally, so I feel incredibly blessed to have washed up on this shore and to be here and enjoy all that we have.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for having me, and
Thank you for having me.
And we can Airbnb this place one day. If somebody wanted to stay here, maybe it would be a possibility in the future. Perhaps I'll give up my guest room. All right. Well, thank you so much. We're going to get Brooke back up here to sing us another song. Yay. Thank you, Deb. You're darling. And thank you, Duncan and Jack, the rest of the household, for inviting me and that I get to stay here because it's a beautiful, sunny place.
Yes, wow, that was beautiful. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to that. Goodness me, and I'm going to look at that as soon as this is done.
Now, have you always lived in the Coromandel?
No, I have not. Only just under 3 years.
Oh.
Yeah, I just when you mentioned that Coromandel magic, I thought I saw my current partner on the piece of land for the first time that we're living on now. We saw each other for the first time and we didn't see each other for so long. Yeah, and now we live on the land
where you first saw each
and our
other.
daughter was born there as well. So it's magic when things are supposed to weave together. They seem to weave the way out. Yeah.
And what brought you here in the first place?
Yeah, him. Yeah. He came, we'd met up here and then he came down and got me and said, come on, I'm living on a boat.
But you met up here at first.
We saw each other but then not
But
for a long
were you
time.
visiting here? Or?
No, there's these amazing things called rainbow gatherings.
Oh yes,
yeah. So we met at those over 3 or 4 years before we got together, and then we've done a few since then, everything. So that's been something that's kind of been weaving through our story. Yeah,
it's wonderful
being out in nature.
Yeah. So the magic of the Coromandel got you. Yeah, it is interesting. In the years I've come, I used to woof at different restaurants and try to get, and people would come through and either somebody would sort of pop into town and next thing you know they had a place to stay and a job and everything was working fine and they thought it was the greatest place in the world, or people would come into town and about 2 hours later they get kind of grumpy and they're like, Mom, and they leave.
And that's a funny one. Yeah, it is a funny one like that. It seems to stay in some people's hearts and they can't sort of shape the feeling.
Yeah, like that song, the Coromandel sound is that the song said, and she'll be back one day. Well, nobody knew I was going to come back regularly, but the song said it. So there it was. It was magic. Okay, you have another song.
I do. Okay. Yeah, and it's sort of fitting as well because I sang it. I wrote it after coming back from my first road trip away from home by myself, and it captured that feeling of freedom and dreaming of being somewhere sunny and beautiful and lovely. Okay, and now I'm here. I'm like, maybe this is what I was singing about.
Before you sing it, let me ask you something. You just went off on a trip by yourself?
Yes, I did.
How empowering.
Yeah, it was. I had my car and I just got my license and I went all around the South Island from coast down one coast up the other coast.
And you spent the night in campsites?
Yeah, things like that.
And you weren't, because most people, especially when they're young, they don't go off by themselves. They need a whole herd with them.
Yeah, no, I was by myself and it felt really good. Yeah, I felt really comfortable and safe. And lots of people I met were like, wow, you're traveling your own country? And I got a lot of, I thought, oh, okay, this is a good thing. Maybe not many New Zealanders do that, actually. If you say, I'm from this area, and then you say, but have you done any of the things around where you're from? Oh, no, not really. Yeah. So it was good to see what's out there in the South Island. It's very different kind of beauty than up here. Whole different way of being and everything's more spread out and more chilled out and way less people. Yeah, I think 1/3 of New Zealand lives like Auckland North or something. Yeah. Quite far up. There's not many people down there. It's quite spread out.
All right, so I'm going to turn it back over to you, too, actually, because I think that's very brave to get up and go off on your own.
Totally, yeah.
And I went off on an adventure, but I had somebody with me. We were doing silly things, hitchhiking down the East Coast, ridiculousness in the States. But although here it doesn't seem to be so crazy. But anyway, okay.
Where are you from in the States? that's
Well,
where-
at the time I was living in Virginia.
Yeah,
I was
okay.
actually born in France, but I
Yeah.
lived in Virginia from 3rd grade till I graduated from high school, and then I went still in Virginia to college,
Yeah.
and then I moved to Florida when my father died to
Oh,
be with
okay.
my mom, and now she's died too. Hi, Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's just funny because the song's called Kansas,
oh,
actually.
well, my dad was born in Kansas.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. And it's in drop D tuning, so
I'm always so impressed with people that can tune without a tuner.
Oh, I know.
She must be a musician.
It's a refined skill. I love it. It's in drop D, so the top note is usually an E, but now it's a D, so it has this sound. It's a lower bass note on the top. I think it adds a lot to the song. So we'll just check. Alright, so the song's called Kansas, and it's, yep.
All right, we're taking out. We're going out on this song.
Here we go. Sunday morning's got my tongue feeling old but being young. They call it freedom, and I could walk, but I think I'll drive, 'cause it's colder than it looks outside, and I wanna get it right this time. Well, my small town dreams up here become a big town escape beneath the sun. So I'll be somewhere far away from here. Hello Kansas, goodbye fear. And I'll see the land that holds the heart of me, the sun that sets the worry free. Well, karma's fate, they told me so. So why say yes when you can't say no? And I could walk, but I think I'll drive, 'cause it's colder than it looks outside, and I wanna get it right this time. Well, my small town dreams up here become a big town escape beneath the sun. So I'll be somewhere far away from here. Hello Kansas, goodbye fear. And I'll see the land that holds the heart of me, the sun that sets the worry free. Well, Sunday morning's got my tongue feeling old but being young. I call it freedom.
All right, well, it's almost over. Where can Brooke Pedersen? Where do we find you online?
Well, I have a Facebook group page called Music and Movement with Brooke, but that's mainly keeping parents in touch with the music sessions I do with young children. But occasionally I'll be saying, oh, I'm doing this event like the Colville Easter Festival. I'm performing at least twice there, so I'll give updates about the local things I'm doing.
I'm going to give you this one of my records.
Oh, thank
And
you.
Kate and Debs, I have one for you. And I'm
Thank
going to
you.
do as John Prine, who has a little house in Gulfport where I'm from. He says, move to the country, eat a lot of peaches, and try to find Jesus on your own. You know, just like it's there in you. Goodbye, my friends. This Laura Shepherd show is over.
Thank you.
Woo! Are we good?